B. Venkatesh Rao, the Director of Foods and Feeds. All right, thank you so much for joining in, and let's talk about the rise that we've witnessed in the feed prices. That's particularly for maize and soya. Are you having a maize procurement trouble?
Actually, not a problem exactly, ma'am. The rates have gone up. Basically, this is because per annum the production level is up to this year. It was about 28 million metric tons, which is expected. The requirement is 29, and the next 2 years it will be 45. There's a shortage of at least 15% growth per annum. 60% is the poultry consumption of maize. And basically, they had a little bit of problem in South India also. This army worm pest also created a havoc and destroyed the crop for 15% of this year. So if you see, and even the hoarding, even a little bit of hoarding is going on, and there's a shortage in patches. In the geographically, the patches where the rainfall was good but didn't fall where the production is. So we didn't get that kind of production in the crops in overall if you see maize, and so that's why you can see the pinch. And another problem is that basically we are asking government also to give the schemes which they are promoting, the maize dryers, the maize silos schemes, things like that, so that it can be kept in a proper shape, and logistically and geographically also to store the maize in a proper places in godowns. Please.
Right. So to what extent has there been a cost push for poultry? Have boiler prices gone up in the same manner as well?
No, I'll give you a funny idea. Last year in January, the realization of the broilers were not so good, and the maize prices per kilo was 5 rupees less. But now this 5 rupees is more, it's touching 20 rupees a kilo. But the realization of the chicken is good, but it's a blessing in disguise. But this is not the proper answer what I'm giving you. But still, we are coping up. If you see in Maharashtra, the rates are good. In Andhra, the rates are good. In eastern sector is good. North is not doing so good. So somehow it is coping up with the realization and is covering the rates. But this is not the proper answer what I'm trying to give you.
Now, to what extent have you hiked prices in poultry, and would it be enough to cover your margins?
Yeah, actually, if you see, naturally it impacts your bottom line, but I think it's still doing better, and not bad. It's doing okay, you can say, because if the maize prices were good enough, we would have done realization much, maybe 2, 3, 4% much better.
Okay. Now, are you seeing poultry farmers move out of the market due to the kind of feed price and availability situation currently? What's the on-ground situation like?
No, it is not possible because the realization is quite impressive, but not very impressive, but it's okay that they can stay, the small farmers also. It basically depends on how the production, how the rains, how it geographically comes, how we are storing, how the traders are going to act. They're not going to stock it. It depends all on that. And plus we are working with the government also to importation. So all these factors, and as you questioned me that the farmers know they are in production and still it's a good situation, I would say that.
Okay. And if I were to ask you, that there is a glut situation in the egg market as we understand, A, is that true? And if that were to be the case, how is pricing moved there?
Pricing is, see, glut, normally this part of the year, it's supposed to be picking up, and I think it's not doing so bad as it's been showing, but I think the rates are still good. And in few areas, of course, there's a glut. So there's overproduction I've been shouting for the years together, that 10% and 12% broilers. That is what the mantra is. And then, it depends again, some patches are overproducing. And even for soya, it's a big story for soya also. If you want, I can tell you on that.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
The soya prices are also going, means the cultivation was better, 6 to 7% this year, so the crop was 20% more. I think the growth was at least about 20%. So I think for next 6 months it looks rosy. The requirement of is enough for the country, but seeing the situation that Iran and America having problems. So Iran started procuring in our milling last 2 months, the 10% there's a hike in the price in soya. because the millers have started procuring and start sending to Iran. The plan is so that naturally the farmers will get a little bit of a beating. For example, even China is having a bad time with America. So China is having some Brazilian collaborations where they are going to have further processing for the soya meal. So again, there's going to be procurement likes to be coming from India. So there's again a situation where it is going to come. So all these unavoidable situations are coming. So we have to be careful. That's all. And otherwise, everything looks rosy on the soya front also.
Thanks much for giving us a little more clarity as to what the situation is on ground, what the impact is with the overall price rise for maize as well as for some of the other crops. And that's the latest coming in from the management of Uttara Foods rather.